Hey everybody, welcome to Build. I'm your host, Brittany Jones-Cooper. Today I'm chatting with Ryan Eggold, who plays Dr. Max Goodwin on NBC's New Amsterdam. The show follows medical director Dr. Goodwin as he balances work life, a lingering cancer diagnosis, and being a new single father. The show is filled with drama and so much heart. And here to break it all down is Ryan Eggold. Welcome.
How's it going?
I love this show. I've chatted with a lot of your cast. It's one of those shows where when I sit down, I know I'm just going to feel all my feelings.
Yeah, sure.
For the next hour. I have to say congratulations. You guys got picked up for 3 more seasons.
Thanks. Yeah, 3 more. Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
That literally doesn't happen.
No. It's an enormous, show. Faith from NBC, who's been the best, continues to be, and it's great. It's exciting, and what it really does is it gives David Schellner and Peter Horton and the creators, the writers of this show, it gives them the knowledge that they have time to really tell these stories and to dig in and to say what's the best way to. Oh boy, something's broken. Is everybody okay? Do you need a doctor?
Everybody.
Let me help you. But yes. Anyways, it gives them confidence and the ability to sort of think about this story in the long run, which is always a great thing for any series.
And it gives you job security.
Yeah, sure, and that's not too bad either.
Right, I always hear from actors, it's like you never really know season to season, you're sort of waiting. So for you as an actor, as the lead on this show, what does that do for you as far as how you approach Max or your process now, knowing that you have time to really live with this character?
Yeah, well, I think it just helps me and everyone, the cast, the crew, the writers, sort of further invest in the show and think about it long term and think about what kind of show do we want to do, what kind of stories do we want to tell, what kind of stories are worth telling. And I think this show is at its best when it really connects with people on issues that are relevant, and when it does that with a degree of humanity and humor, a bit of depth, a bit of drama, but also a bit of lightness and levity too.
Is it ever concerning to you what they're going to put Max through, though? Because in just 2 seasons, the man has dealt with quite a bit.
Yes,
He's battled throat cancer.
Yes.
He lost his wife very suddenly and kind of horrifically.
Yeah.
And now he's a single father while being the medical director of a really busy hospital. Like, what else can they put this man through?
Oh, you'll see. It's coming. He actually stops a train with his bare hands from hitting an infant on the tracks. No.
Oh, he just uses his mind, actually.
Yeah,
he just
does
looks
it
at
with
the
his
train.
mind. In season 3, we're working on a cape for Max that just says MG on the back, Max Goodwin. No. He's been through a lot, and I think that, which is obviously highly dramatized on a TV show, but it's something that we can all relate to in the sense that we all can get sort of overwhelmed juggling it all at work, trying to be a professional, coming home, trying to be a father or a mother or a sister, but a son, whatever that is, all the roles that we have to play in our lives. I think it's that's sort of, it's certainly heightened with Max Goodwin, but I think hopefully it's a relatable journey too. Yeah.
And we've seen him grow and change a lot, right? I mean, he's this very confident guy, but he's had all these things happen to him, and now we've seen him sort of like rock bottom, or have to really kind of rebuild himself. And I think the biggest challenge now is he's a father. Yeah. And he's somebody who is the job. He put so much into work, and that was sort of, he had strain at his home with his wife because of that. Right. So did all of that experience change him and his parenting philosophy, like his being more present with his daughter?
Yeah, I think so. And I think for this particular character in his journey, losing first off, battling cancer and coming out, thinking it's a positive end of that, and then losing your wife, your co-parent, your partner in this journey of raising a kid. I think, his daughter is the last piece of his wife that remains, and I think there's all the more responsibility to do right by her. Not being there to be a good father, to raise her in the right way, and to give her everything that she would have wanted for this child,
How well do you know Max? Like, have you gone and created more of a backstory for him? We know little bits and pieces about why he got into the medical profession, losing his sister the way that he did. But have you developed any other things for you personally, just to sort of inform how you play him?
Yeah, I mean, I've certainly based most of the character on what David has written in terms of the trauma he faced with his sister when he was younger, losing her in the hospital, 2 doctors, and how that must have colored his view of healthcare and helping people and saving a life and all those things. And then the other big piece of the puzzle is Eric Mannheimer, who the character is based on, who wrote this book, Life and Death at Bellevue, and in conversations with Eric and his real life experience, being a medical director of Bellevue for many, many years, and the patients that he met, the struggles that he faced, the hurdles he tried to overcome with healthcare, his frustrations, his insights after that many years. So it's a nice sort of combination of basing it off Eric and his life, his experiences, his book, and David and the world that he has written, that he has created, that is so kinetic and hopefully reflective of life and real people.
I know at least first season, Eric would be on set kind of consulting. Is he still a part of the production?
He is, yeah. Eric is still around and in conversation with the writers and with us, was very heavily so in season 1 as we were launching the show, and instrumental. I mean, he told me lots of little details that would color the character, like the kind of shoes that he would wear, like the kind of tennis shoes that would be the most comfortable so that he could be on his feet running around the hospital all day trying to be in 10 places at once. That's my mom calling. Let me get that. No. And how many espressos a day he would have, how much caffeine he would drink.
How many?
He told me he had like 8 shots one day. I'm like, you're gonna, yeah. Trying to keep up with this job. So Max's frenetic pace and trying to be on every floor of the hospital and be with every patient is heavily based on Eric and sort of his real life experience of trying to do that job.
What is the most sort of fascinating thing you learned about being a physician, and especially dealing with all the pressure and stress and the pace you mentioned? Yeah. Was there something that you found in your research just about what that lifestyle is like that was interesting to you?
Yeah, definitely. First off, nurses don't get enough credit. I mean, nurses do so much of the workload in the day-to-day and take care of people and talk to them and comfort them and are present. Luckily, I have not spent a lot of time in the hospital, but the few times I have, the nurses are always the ones that you're speaking to, asking questions, really taking care of you. So that's one thing, is they don't get enough credit. And secondly, I think we all have frustrations with the healthcare system. That's the reason we're doing a show like this. And I think it's easy to, as a patient, as a person, as not a medical professional like myself, to say doctors and lump them in with part of the problem. But then you speak to doctors and you realize how frustrated they are with the system and how they would like to streamline their ability to help you. And so you just realize how complicated it is, and that it's sort of, many different issues.
And especially our healthcare system is, so complex and complicated and frustrating for a lot of people. Yeah. You guys really kind of go head on with a lot of the issues that real people are facing every day, obviously. Is there an episode that you are particularly proud of, just around the way you guys dealt with an issue?
Gosh, yeah, there's a lot, I'm proud of that we try to tell these stories that are reflective of things that are actually happening. And I like that, one thing we try is that the answer is never simple, it can't be. There's no sort of one fix all. I like providing characters like Brantley or like Todd, or that sort of provide a counterbalance to Max and sort of an argument against. And so we can represent different sides of the coin. There was an episode, the first one that comes to mind is episode, I think it was 5 of season 1. I think Erica Green wrote that episode, who's an amazing writer. And it's about these 2 kids who were, the same bullet had hit them. And it just had to do with race. It had to do with gun violence. It had to do with policing and race relations. And it had to do with how that comes into healthcare. Because again, that's what the show is about, sort of just trying to get into the sort of prevailing social issues and why someone would need healthcare in the first place. Why, but that was an interesting episode for many reasons, and very emotional. Directed by Darnell Martin, I should say, who's an incredible director that we have. And that one just, for whatever reason, for many reasons, was very affecting for me. Yeah.
Speaking of directing,
Yeah.
You're going to be directing tomorrow's episode. Or you directed tomorrow's episode.
No, I'm going to be directing it live tomorrow. We're going to all get together. We've rehearsed it, and we're just going to roll. No,
Holding my breath. I'll be live tweeting the entire time.
I would pee my pants if that happened. That would be nerve-wracking.
Don't you have so much respect for the people who direct like the Oscars and these live shows? You're like,
oh my
what
God,
a nightmare.
Yeah, the stress and the moment to moment to
you can barely do this thing, you know? I can't imagine.
Same. Yes, I take my hats off to those folks for sure. But yeah, no, I directed tomorrow night's episode. It's called The Sabbath. David Schallner wrote it, an amazing episode. And it was a blast, man. It was a chance to push into new territory creatively, and it was really great.
Yeah. Take me through why that's something you wanted to do. I know you directed a feature, so you have directed in the past, but why this show? Why did you want to kind of step up your game a little bit? Because you're already doing a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, Max is fairly busy. No, it was, directing and writing too is something I'd like to push into. And I think just because when you're an actor on a show or a film, you are sort of a tool for telling that story, which in this case is a story that I'm very happy to be telling and proud of, and working with people that I admire, David and Peter and the cast, the crew. All these people are terrific. But I think particularly writing and in turn directing gives you the opportunity to tell the story, to be in the driver's seat and say, A, this is the kind of story I want to tell, and B, this is how I want to tell it. And it's just a very creatively challenging role, but also very fulfilling, I think.
I would imagine too, because you obviously are the lead character, and so you're very concerned with his trajectory. But when you're directing, you really have to take sort of more of a holistic view. You really have to look at everything. It kind of takes you out of your own role a little bit, right?
Yes, big time. And it's a great lesson for an actor, for any actor, because, there's a tendency when you start out as a younger actor to just think, here I come. Everybody behold how amazing I am. You come onto a set and it's such an emotional experience to act, so you think, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking about, but when you step behind the camera or out of it at all, you realize what a village it takes, and the enormous contribution of so many people and so many departments, and you realize that each actor is one piece of that puzzle of this big old thing, and it sort of takes the pressure off yourself, or it can, as an actor, to go, oh yeah, I'm just flowing within this big old thing, so I'll do my thing, and we'll all, you have to work within that ecosystem. But yeah, when you direct, you really appreciate the incredible contribution that everybody brings, and you're just grateful to be collaborating with them.
Were there any unique challenges to directing your co-stars?
Yes. Tyler's a pain in the ass. We all know that. Anupam, disaster. No, this cast is, as you guys know, so talented. So kind, so supportive. Everybody was great. And, it's not easy to be, I imagine, working with, this actor who plays Max and then suddenly have him be like, all right, why don't you try it this way? You're like, what? Aren't you the guy that... But everybody was great and supportive. And it was fun. I mean, I got to appreciate the actors' work in a whole new way, because having been their co-star for season and a half now, almost 2 seasons, I think so highly of them as people, as actors, performers. But then when you're a director and you're sitting by the monitor and you're watching takes, or you're sitting by the camera and you're watching the nuance of what they're doing, the honesty of their work, all the challenges, man, you really appreciate that stuff, and how great they are, and how well cast everybody is. Liz Dean cast the pilot and did an amazing job, and anyways, yeah.
No, I really enjoy the cast and the dynamics that play out. One that I think we all enjoy is your character, and then Dr. Sharp.
She's okay. She's all right.
Freema's amazing. But just the back and forth, they're both these strong personalities, and there's always that will they, won't they dynamic, which I personally am okay with the won't they right now.
You think won't they? Okay, people are very split on this. I want to take a poll, because it's like 50-50, should they or should they not? And I get people come up to me on the street, passionate, Like they have to get together,
care
or
a
the
lot.
opposite, or like they better not ruin their friendship. Like it just goes every which way. It's really fun to hear from people.
I don't think that they would actually be successful in a romantic relationship.
How dare you? I'm
I
kidding,
think
I'm kidding.
they are both so smart and they like challenge each other, and I think they're like great friends. And then to throw sex on top of that, which is, oh my god,
Disaster, ruin everything, right? I've heard that. Yes, you're in a very
explosion.
yeah.
What team are you guys on?
Camp.
Yes, they should be together. See, or so you're saying if they do come together, let's make us work for it. You know?
Oh, too soon, too much too soon, too quickly. And you say no. You say no. Because of the friendship?
Because of the friendship.
Right.
And I also think that the woman that you're having a play date with.
Oh, yes.
Oh, the play date.
You think there's something there?
It wasn't a date.
Interesting. It's not a date, or
It
is
wasn't a date, or was it? Or isn't that what
It's
play
a
dates
play
are?
date.
Though, kind
It has
of.
date. It has date in the title. I mean, come on now. So what? The kids are there.
It feels like a date to me.
Rebound. You say rebound. Yeah, I know. I know. That's the thing.
Well, that's another thing. He needs a rebound before doing anything with
Yeah.
Dr. Sharp, right? Because that would just.
Yeah, that's. I mean, there's been so much discussion of like, is it too soon? Should he be dating? Should he not be dating? But you know, the guy, as you said earlier, he's had a lot of pain. He's been through a lot. So it was kind of the decision was sort of like, this guy's got to get out there. He's got to try to be happy. He's got to try to start moving on despite all these challenges.
I know. That said, you're playing a dad now.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear babies aren't the best scene partners.
You know what? For all the difficulties that comes with working with a baby, if they don't do the thing you want them to do on cue, or they're crying, you don't want them to be whatever it is. They are amazing scene partners because they cannot lie. They're literally incapable of it. If they're angry, they're going to be angry. If they're happy, they're going to be happy. So when they smile or laugh, it's amazing and it's real, and it forces you. It sounds silly when you're working with any sort of non-actor or like a kid or especially a baby, forces you to be more honest because it's like you're working with genuine reactions. You're not working with someone who's saying lines and trying to be a certain way, you know. So it is amazing, and it's great dad practice because as not a father yet in real life, which I would obviously love to be at some point, it's great dad practice because I get to be like, that was fun. Here's your child back, but it is great.
Are you Uncle Ryan or anything, or is this like really the first sort of interaction you're having?
No, this is my first. I mean, I was a young dad on I'm an old guy now. I was a dad on Blacklist as well. So yeah, I've had some practice, but this more so. This is about being a father a little bit more, and so yeah.
What is that experience going? I mean, Blacklist is this highly successful show. You're a supporting character on that show. Now you're the lead. What kind of shift does that do for you as an actor?
Yeah, well, it's certainly a lot more work. I mean, I got to take my hats off to Megan Moon and to James Spader, obviously, who carry that show so beautifully, because you realize, like, man, what an enormous amount of work it is, and just that if you're not on set, you're learning lines for the next thing, and you're always prepping and working. But it's great. For me, it makes me care a little bit more, truthfully. It gives you sort of a little sense of, I don't know, it just makes that sense of family a little stronger, and that you want to be a good leader and a good friend to everybody, a good collaborator, a good supporter of everyone else.
Yeah, definitely. So New Amsterdam, highly successful. We got 3 more years of it, but you also have a lot of other things you're working on. I know you just had a film premiere at Sundance.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
That's a beautiful film by an incredible filmmaker. Her name is Eliza Hittman. This is her third film or fourth, I believe third. It's called Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. And it's an incredible story about a young girl who is dealing with pregnancy and sort of abortion laws in her state and all these things. And it brings up a lot of issues that we ought to be discussing right now, particularly what's happening in certain states at the moment and women's rights, being under attack and things. And so it's a really beautiful, interesting, compelling film.
Yeah, and I think it comes out in March, right?
Comes out in March, yeah. Focus Features releasing it, and it'll be in theaters, and go see it if you get a chance. Yeah.
So it sounds like the show, or not the show, the movie has like a very distinct voice. It's issue oriented. Is that something that's really important to you? Because I would imagine you're really busy. So if you're going to make time to go and shoot a film, is it important that it has a voice and is saying something?
I think so. Not that entertainment has to be solely that, but I think it's just something that's happened for everybody, culturally, socially, that we want to tell stories that are reflective of life, of real issues, of real people, and these things, and that's just become more interesting to us. Escapism will always have a place. As much as the next person, I enjoy turning something that I can just veg out to.
90 Day Fiancé.
Absolutely, totally, and just relax and enjoy it, and not have to think for a minute because the news and what's happening in the world is unrelenting at times. And so I understand that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I do think if you're going to take the time, the money, the effort to make a film, make a show, I think we've reached a place where collectively where we want to talk about stories that affect us, that have some that are to do with some conversation that is about life. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm now just curious, do you have a guilty pleasure show?
Yeah. Oh God, I'm embarrassed to say.
I just said 90 Day Fiancé.
You're right. Okay, let me bail you out.
Be worse than that.
Let me bail you out. I saw The Bachelor for the first time in my life last year. Terrific. Tremendous programming. Love it. Really, really great time. And along those lines, there's a new show on Netflix called Love is Blind. Have you heard of this?
No, I just saw the commercial for it, though.
It's a reality show about dating and stuff, and people can't see each other in the day. I saw the first few episodes, and it's great. It's really great.
I will check it out. That was a very high recommendation.
Yeah.
And I need something to veg out to. Our first question comes from Cindy. Hi, Cindy.
Hi, Ryan.
Hey, how are you?
Congratulations again on 3 more seasons.
Thanks.
But my question is, how challenging was it for you as an actor to transition from a person that has cancer to now grieving for your wife and it's really hard to let her go?
Right, yeah. That's, it sounds weird. I don't want to sound the wrong way, but as an actor, it's sort of a gift to be given a character that has so much going on, that is dealing with such high stakes and such emotional trauma, really, and these different things, because, as an actor, you then have to find that part of yourself that can relate to it personally and connect to it. I, thank God, have never had cancer. Thank God, have never lost my wife of these things, but you have to find a part of you that has suffered loss, or the part of you that's been afraid of your life, or whatever. And so they're challenges that are exciting to take on creatively, and hope that you can find some degree of authenticity in playing those moments. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Are you an actor who can leave that on set? Because your character goes to some emotional lows pretty often.
Yeah. Usually, it's when you're inhabiting a certain. Doing Spike's film, doing Black Klansman, it's harder to leave that stuff on the set because it is so outside yourself, and it is such sort of heavy material, and then it's very charged, and it has you have a look too. You have to go to the grocery store and a mustache and this military haircut, and people hold their children close because they're like, that guy's a child molester, and you're like, it's just for a part. But yeah, then it can be. But yes, with this show, I think. Generally, you do, yeah. And if you do kind of ruminate on it, it's hopefully in a good way, in the sense of it's something that you're working out creatively, something that a situation that you sort of are trying to figure out, how would you play that, or something. Those things you can take home sometimes and try to work it out in your mind. Yeah.
Where's Meryl?
Hi.
How's it going?
Been a fan since the beginning. So
awesome.
Thank you for making me cry every week.
Thanks.
I'm just wondering, since you answered my question earlier, I had a different one. I wanted to know, I heard your musical background.
Yeah.
What are the chances that might be incorporated into Max's background?
Oh yeah. You know what? I don't know. We haven't really talked about it. There's sometimes once in a while I write a song at home. It's a kind of a secret hobby thing, and once in a while I'll write a song that's kind of like, hey, this could be on the show, So maybe at some point I'll approach David and Peter and those guys and see if they like a song, see if something could fit. I don't know that Max will become. I feel like it would be too surprising at this point for Max to be like, pull out his guitar and start serenading a patient. Maybe he plays ukulele secretly, or maybe he learns an instrument. I mean, yes, for Luna, you're right. I mean, learning an instrument, music can be so therapeutic and cathartic. Maybe that's an interesting idea. Maybe he picks up an instrument to learn.
Or like the montages at the end of the show.
Yeah, totally.
She's pitching.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, thank you.
She's
Can
got
you be my
ideas.
music agent? No.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I one of these days it might be fun to write a song and give it to them and see if it has a place on the show. But if it works out, I would never want it to be artificial.
But you've written music for the movie you directed. You wrote music for that, right?
Yes,
So
yeah.
you've had experience writing for.
Yeah,
TV and-
I wrote the score for the film, and that was a great experience. I actually just listened to some of that stuff the other day. It was like going through a hard drive. I was like, "What is this?" Oh, this is all the music I was remembering. And like, it was really cool. I hadn't heard it in a long time, so that was a really fun experience. Yeah,
Well, if you could just get her in the room, I feel like we could make that happen.
absolutely.
In the next 3 seasons.
Do we have the guitar? Suddenly it comes out. Yeah,
It's like pull the flute out of your sleeve, like Ron Burgundy.
the flute, the recorder. Yeah, could be good.
Wasn't prepared. Where's Nigel? Hi, Nigel.
Hi, Ryan.
Hey, how are you?
You've actually covered quite a few of my questions already, but I was fortunate to watch a short movie years ago. Literally.
Oh, you do? You
before
saw the
I got
short?
there, and-
Oh my
yeah,
God, that's
and
so
it
cool.
won an award for best short movie.
Yes.
And it's one of my favorite short movies. So the
Wow.
question I have is, what was it like making that short? And I know you also wrote the script as well.
Yes.
So just wondered if you could touch upon that for me.
Wow, I'm so glad you caught it. That's awesome, man. Yeah, it was years ago. That was kind of like probably the second short film I ever made to completion, and it was a combination of this was a situation that came out of real life. I was going through a breakup, which is the most inspiring thing. If you need material, if you need to write a film or anything, just go through a breakup and it'll all come out. But yeah, and so I ended up writing this character who was sort of going to this wedding thinking there was still a shot, and sort of asking himself these questions of, was my life supposed to go this way? And then sort of thinking about what is that, what are you really asking? In what ways is the character stuck, or what does he need to learn about himself to become unstuck, and all these things. It was just an interesting situation. So that's where it came from. I wrote it really quickly, like over the course of a weekend, wrote 20-some pages, and it just kind of fell out, which is the best when that happens. And then
Great therapy.
yeah, I worked with this amazing director of photography. His name is Jazz Shelton. God bless him. He's making a bunch of great movies and has made a bunch of great movies. And he came in and did me a solid and shot the heck out of this thing. We shot on film on 35, which was really cool. And I just got all my friends together to act in it. My friend Adam Rose starred in that short and just nailed it. And anyways, it was a blast. And it was every time I do it, every time I direct something, make a short, direct this episode, I feel like I just learn a ton about how to be a better storyteller and how to better manage a set and all that stuff.
Do you still write consistently? Like, do you have scripts that you're just sort of popping in and out of?
Yeah, definitely. I'm writing something now that I'm really, really very passionate about. Consumes my brain all the time, but that I was hoping to kind of shoot this spring and be out in the fall, and I don't know if it's going to happen. Maybe pushing, and so God knows when this stuff will actually come out and be seen. But yeah, working on a few scripts. Yeah,
Writing takes time. It's all right.
it does. Yeah. And then there's the business of it, where you might write something and it gets made in a week, and then you might write something that takes you 10 years, and it's everything in between. So it's just fun. I mean, you look at like Taika Waititi's film Jojo Rabbit. Yes. He talks about how he wrote and no one wanted to make it, and then finally came back to it, and then it got made, and now here it is, this incredible.
Well, there's a lot of stuff like that too. Maybe sometimes you're just too early, and then like Me Too happens, and all these movies that were like no, now they're
pertinent.
made. Yeah,
right.
so.
Weren't relevant and are now, or vice versa. So true. Yeah.
And Kim, one last question.
Good morning.
Hey, morning. How are you?
Congratulations on the 3-season pickup.
Thank you very much.
So, Tom Keen's death
Yes.
in Blacklist, and then your Max on New Amsterdam.
Mm-hmm.
What was the time frame between Tom Keen's death and the life of Max in New Amsterdam?
Of Max,
Yeah,
it
was it a quick transition, or
the transition was Walter Breachway in Black Klansman. That's how you get from one to the other. No, yes, got off of Blacklist. Was fortunate enough to do that film, which was a totally different role, nothing I'd played before, and working with a master filmmaker like Spike Lee, which is just a lesson in storytelling, in acting and directing, and in putting a film together, and all those things, and how to run a set, everything. Learned a tremendous amount working with him, and then was figuring out what to do, and then this script came along, and my first thought, like so many people have said, was, do we need another medical show? Why do I want to do this? It's, and then you read what David wrote, and he wrote this really kinetic script that was relevant, that was about healthcare, that was about real people, that was about how we can help each other, that was this character who was trying to be 10 different people to you know, trying to be in 10 different places at once. And it just had this great sense of movement and authenticity, and I just got excited about it. And then I met with David and Peter and Kate Dennis, who was directing the pilot, and they were just great folks, down to earth and sincere, and seemed like they really wanted to tell this story in a way that people could connect to. And I said, sounds like fun. Let's do it.
But did you have to audition? Or was it something that they had in mind?
It was a bit of both.
Yeah.
We did kind of a thing where they were sort of half offering it to me and saying, like, but also come in and read, like, just for fun, you know? And so it was a very sort of casual kind of meet and read and talk about it and work through some of the lines. But I'll tell you, when something fits, it fits. Like, you could work on an audition or a part for ages and just, it's not for you, and not be right. And then with this, it was a case where I walked in and had a conversation, and we agreed sort of ideologically about a lot of things. And personality-wise, they're very kind, sweet, egoless people to work with. And then character-wise and tone-wise and story-wise, we just kind of clicked into something and said, yeah, it should be like that. And started talking through it, and it was like, oh, that's it. And it was just one of those things that kind of came and worked. Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like, I was a fan of the Blacklist, and when I saw this, I was like, oh, this seemed like they must have had him in mind, because you really do bring Max to life in a really authentic way that I think audiences obviously connect with. So thank you for all the work you've done on the show, and will continue to do in these next 3 seasons.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you for making us cry every week and making us think.
Thank you for your thoughtful questions, and you guys for your thoughtful questions. I really appreciate being here.
And make sure you check out New Amsterdam. It airs Tuesdays at 10/9 Central on NBC. Put your hands together for Ryan Eggold.
Thank you, guys.